Dun, dun, dun. Hey guys, Dave here from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with some of the crew.
I'm Ted.
I'm Nate.
And today we're going to be discussing terrible terrain, and we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go with the Fey Party.
So you're just walking around the woods or going under an arch of a tree, and bam, you're in a different part of the woods you never thought you would be before.
Right, and there's a party going on. There's frolicking, there's drinking, there's eating, there's music.
And nobody looks normal.
And nobody looks normal. So, and you know, it could be anything. It could be, you know, you hear, you know, sounds off into the distance. As you get closer, you hear the tittering of fairies and music.
You see strange lights.
You see strange lights. And, you know, you get there and there's, you know, dryads and nymphs and satyrs. But there also might be some other things like, you know, like centaurs, which aren't actually fey creatures, but I kind of associate them with that.
I agree with that.
And you know, there could even be archfey there.
Indeed.
So
as well as the little pixies and
sprites. You know, and there's two different varieties this party can come in. You know, there could be the dark fey, the Unseelie, or you know, the Seelie Fey. Right. So, you know, depending on your campaign and how you want to do things, you can draw from mythology as little or as much as you want. You know,
they don't get too deep into it in the actual Monsters Manual about court separation or anything like that. So, yeah. It's all pretty much up to you guys.
So, and then there's also the Eladrin, too, which are added in 4th edition, which are like this hierarchy of the high elves almost.
Yes, there's the wood elves, the high elves, and the Eladrin.
Which in previous editions, like I think everyone just kind of assumed like the high elves were like the Eladrin, and now that they've added the actual Eladrin, which is kind of like from the feywild, I actually like it. So I could definitely see some of them actually being at one of these fey parties as well. Yeah, and everybody is going to be like uber beautiful. It's like going to a supermodel party. So like even if you show up and you got like a high charisma, you'll be like the ugly duck.
It's like, oh, look at you.
I look like all these people's ugly friend.
Yeah. So what do you guys think are the dangers of showing up at a fey party, even if it isn't the Unseelie?
Well, you're going to get plenty of tricks played on you through either some of the higher up party goers, you know, all good-hearted tricks, or you know,
good-hearted means you'll survive them.
Yeah, you'll survive every single one of them. Or you have the tricksters, the pixies, the sprites messing with you, the fairy dragons. Maybe someone's got a fairy dragon pet.
Yeah, I feel there definitely should be, you know, on the lookout for being like, you know, charmed or encouraged to, you know, lend assistance or do something. You know, you never know what kind of.
Go ahead.
What kind of things, you know, might be in the food? You know, oh, this isn't, you know, fit for, you know, standard consumption kind of
mortals,
thing. You know,
and say, hey, stay for a while. You know, like until I get bored.
Like a
charm you.
No, and then of course, you know, you can, like, I know D&D doesn't get super heavy into, you know, the actual, you know, compact. But, you know, you might wind up, you know, getting on the wrong side of a bargain.
I almost feel like that's the old D&D, and the new D&D, it's there. It's just not the same.
You get class levels for it. So it's all fine.
You know, like, you could literally, like, you could walk away from a fey party with a
couple levels of warlock.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say a couple. I level warlock.
Yeah, that's enough. Say yay to the wrong kind of question that you didn't understand at the time.
Yeah, especially if there's archfey at this party.
Right.
You know, so that's a possibility. The other thing is you wake up after the party and 100 years have gone by, and you know you haven't aged, but the world around you has.
Yeah, because there are parts where you could step into another, like a pocket dimension, pretty much, that time works differently in.
Yes. Now I don't really feel like you're gonna like you have to worry about pranks as much. But I feel like you might have to worry about, like, say you wander in and, like, the first fey to take notice of you kind of, like, claims you like a pet. And, like, not in the sense that they're saying they own you or whatever, but they actually, you know, they take a liking to you and they start showing you around and be like, kind of like, look what I have. I found this thing and it's kind of cool. Or,
That
like
would be
Isn't this a cute dog
yeah.
that
So
just wandered in?
yeah, kind of along those lines. And but then again too, like that, it could be good and bad. Like in a sense, like the Fae have these weird sensibilities to them, where like if they do that, they might be protective of you from other people, but that doesn't really give you protection from them per se. So there's all these strange things that could happen. And then I feel like within the Fae party encounter, it could be laced with encounters of itself.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a great place to put like almost like puzzles and trick type encounters.
Yeah.
But it's actually happening like in this social environment.
Yeah, or riddles.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of different games they play with you.
And there could be rewards and penalties for success and failure as
Absolutely,
well. Within these.
It could be part of the dynamics of the party. Like to these type of people, what would be a reward for a player, might be like trinkets and baubles that they don't care about.
Right.
So, I mean, they're tossed in as just, oh well, if you get this, we'll throw that in.
It's a party, the party favor.
Yeah. The party favor.
There's different things like that. There's social interaction encounters that you can have. There could even be combat.
Someone could take an affront that you're even there.
Yeah, or you do something without knowing it. All of a sudden you're challenged to a duel.
Yeah, it gets all quiet, and the self-looking person in front of you is very angry.
Yeah. Well, and because they have rules. They're like there's this whole rules and intricacies that you're not going to understand that are going on. Yet you'll be expected to adhere to them. So
and that might be that once you take a drink or once you eat some food, you're considered playing. You're part.
Yeah, you've taken part. Yeah,
you're in the party.
Some action you've done, basically, takes off the kid gloves and says, yeah, you're part of the thing now, whether you meant it or not, because you don't know the rules.
Oh, that's a great point. I love that. You could have possible giveaways. Like not giveaways as like presents for the parties, but like clues for the observant one or the observant players who are trying to figure out like, okay, what should I do or what shouldn't I do, to see, okay, what's the ebb and flow, what's the hierarchy, who's this, who's that, but if you have party members who just wander in and just enjoy themselves,
and while Drogo the Barbarian is like, yeah, let's party with some mead and these fine green ladies with twigs in their hair,
and like
let's dance.
I think like an excellent source too, because we were talking about this a little bit before the video started, is like the Dresden Files, to see how like the things work, like how those different interactions work with the supernatural world, like because you can apply almost all of those to this kind of scenario. If you wanted to make it a little more flavorful, a little more interesting, you could have a polymorph dragon that's kind of like hanging around.
Yeah.
And you say something that offends him, and he looks at you with the full weight of his power and basically unleashes his frightful presence on you, right?
Right.
And it's totally a scene that happened in
the Dresden books.
So yeah, you can borrow from this kind of stuff if you want to, and you don't. The ability doesn't have to always work the way the book says. You can tweak it a little bit, make it a little more interesting, and just let the players know if this is indeed the case, that they're out of their weight class,
right?
Right away, because they said something or did something that they probably should have thought better of. And next thing you know, they got this guy looking at them, and they're just their gaze alone is enough to drop them to their knees.
Right. So another thing, you started off by saying like, you're going to be in the presence of insanely beautiful people, and every game table is different. Some go down those certain paths. So if you have a table where essentially sex can happen, whether it's done or just an aside, you could totally wind up having your character have an offspring without knowing it, and it becomes a bargaining chip later.
Yeah, it comes back into play, and it'd be really interesting. and yeah, because again, like the mind is so alien for these creatures. Like we can't conceive how they view things, and like they may just try and get knocked up like a crazy girlfriend from one of the PCs just because they want to use the baby for something later.
Right. Just as leverage, maybe
that could also be the way they reproduce.
It's possible as well.
It could be.
I mean, like dryads. Are there guy druids? Guy dryads? I don't know. I've never seen a picture of one, so
maybe they're born from dewdrops. I have no idea.
Same thing with nymphs.
Where do male dryads come from?
Same thing with nymphs. Nymphs are only ever depicted as female.
Well, I think that's because they specifically mate with human and elven males.
I almost felt like they're one of the Fey things is like if it's a male, it's a satyr. If it's a female, it's like a nymph or a dryad or something. But I could be way wrong because I think satyrs is another thing that usually is only male.
Yeah.
At least it's been depicted or whatever. And it might be different in your game. I don't know.
But if you have like possibly one of these natural powers or whatever, lured the party to here through sound, sights, smells to get them to come to this party because they're aware of who they are and what bargaining chips might be had a year down the line when there is a baby by said person.
Or maybe part of the sport of the party is it's like an ugly sweater party. Except for in this case, the ugly sweater is the PCs. Who can bring the ugliest one?
Oh yeah, and someone could just show up. I mean, this could be in a different area, and it's not in the woods, but maybe it is in ruins that are actually glamored to look like some kind of southern estate, and everyone's in these noble dresses, and you're just like walking up to them and be like, "Oh no, come in," you kind of thing. So it's like, and so the person that finds them is like has higher status in some way because they brought a group of people in the ugly sweaters.
So yeah, and or there could be guests that you don't expect. Like I said, the dragon's a good example, but perhaps an infernal creature gets invited because maybe this party has this celebration has a specific purpose. So for for whatever reason, that being is there,
or it borders some kind of section that infernal creature controls or has dominion over. So it's kind of an invite to the neighbor kind of thing.
Yeah,
which you don't see. You just see that there's an infernal creature hanging out.
There's a pit fiend sitting there, drinking from a goblet made of someone's skull.
I was just about to say the same. There really are an endless number of possibilities that you can do with this. I think what you need to do is if you're going to plan this type of encounter is to really ahead of time like set your hard and fast ground rules. But
not a lot of them.
But not a lot of them. Be prepared to add some more to add interest or challenges to the party based on things that they've done.
You could almost set this up as if it was just an adventure itself with all these different encounters that happen in the party. You could almost like if you're the mapping type of person, you could almost like do the layout of the party. And in different areas, you could have different things going on.
Yeah, like you'll get challenged to a puzzle if you go over here, or the polymorph dragon likes riddles, or
over here they're dancing, and you can't go over here without being swept up into the dancing. Or it could even be almost like a trap or hazard where you have to pass a saving throw to not go
like
dance.
A charm effect or something.
Yeah, and you may dance yourself to death.
Absolutely. No, so I would say like
Level 5 exhaustion.
Oh God. Please let me sit down, please.
You sit down and your feet are still dancing.
So like you could certainly have it where like areas it's forbidden to either draw weapons or injure someone. Other areas are designed just for combat, and possibly just the magics of the Fey are so powerful that any injury that happens in this 10-foot square just vanish when you walk away. So you can do anything that you want. I mean, it's literally limited by only your imagination
and how powerful you want to make the Archfey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah,
that's one of the.
You could also do you could do things even more interesting, like in that area, perhaps like real injuries ever sustained, but the loser becomes bound to the winner. You know, by entering the duel, you basically have agreed to enter a pact with the other duelist.
Oh,
and
like when two knights fight and the other one gets the other guy's horse. The winner gets the other guy's horse.
Yeah, but in this case, you're the horse.
Yeah. You're the knight and the horse.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot of cool things you could do with this kind of thing. And
we could definitely go on for a while.
Yeah, we could. And this is one of those things that will, like Ted said, require a bit more planning.
Yeah.
I would definitely write down at least like 4 or 5 sentences.
And 2 of those sentences are riddles and puzzles.
Yeah, maybe.
You research your riddle. I would think I'd research my riddle, be like really set myself on what puzzle games.
There are plenty of online resources for good,
just do some
for good
searches
riddles.
and then deal out that stuff.
But like I said, you want to prep your areas, prep a handful of rules that are going to be hard and fast. Be prepared to add more that are going to add complexity and challenges to the players. And give notable attendance, who is actually at this party.
Yeah.
And again, with everything else, be prepared to add some more players to the field if your players aren't interacting with who's there. Oh, well, now so and so shows up.
And don't be afraid to throw things in there that aren't actually in the monster manual. And don't worry about their stats. If you want Tinkerbell like fairies there, you can just have them there.
Yeah.
Whatever spruces it up. They almost become part of the backdrop.
Yes, absolutely.
So with that, guys, what do you think about having a Fey party as, not even just an encounter, but it could actually be a whole adventure, or even almost like a section of your world? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, subscribe.
You can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
You also join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.